Every day, millions of people walk into hospitals across the UK. They trust the person sitting across from them, the person wearing the badge that says doctor. But what if that trust was misplaced? What if that person diagnosing you had never actually qualified as a doctor? For more than 2 decades, one woman managed to do exactly that. Her name was Zholia Alemi, and her story exposed one of the most shocking failures in the modern healthcare system. To understand how this happened, we need to go back to the beginning. Hi everyone, welcome to True Medical Stories Archive. My name is Simone, and on this channel, I share true stories that happens inside healthcare, from crimes and catastrophic errors to system failures and remarkable survival stories. If that sounds like something you're interested in, please consider subscribing. Zholia Alemi was born in 1962 in Iran. Details about her early childhood aren't widely documented, but at some point her family moved abroad, eventually settling in New Zealand. This move would shape the rest of her life. In the late 1980s and early 1990s, Alemi attended the University of Auckland. She studied human biology, and by 1992, she had completed a degree. So far, everything looked normal, but after graduating, she entered medical school at the same university, beginning the path toward becoming a doctor. But as you know, medicine is one of the toughest academic journeys someone can take. And for Elemi, things didn't go smoothly. She struggled during the course. She failed exams and had to retake them. Eventually, after failing again during the second year of medical training, the university removed her from the program. At that point, most people would have either tried again somewhere else or choose another career. But for Eleni, she made a very different decision. Eleni then forged documents claiming she had completed a medical degree. And not just any document, it's official certificates and verification letters. In 1995, she moved to the United Kingdom. There, she applied to the General Medical Council. This is the body that is responsible for licensing doctors in the UK. And incredibly, her forged credentials worked. She was granted registrations as a doctor. From that moment, Zholia Alemi began a medical career that should never have existed. She started working as a junior doctor in hospitals. Her early placements were in Northern Ireland, where she began gaining real experience in clinical settings. From there, she moved across the UK, working in multiple NHS trusts. Many of these roles were locum position, which are temporary contracts used to fill staff shortages. Locum work often involves moving between hospitals quickly, meaning background checks and supervisions can sometimes be less thorough. Over the years, Alemi worked in hospitals across England, Scotland, Wales, and Northern Ireland. Most of her work eventually focused on psychiatric, particularly in mental health services, which meant she wasn't just diagnosing conditions. This lady was making decisions that could affect people's freedom, including whether someone could be detained under mental health laws. Yes, this was quite serious. Here's the crazy part. Alemi didn't just survive inside the NHS. She progressed. Yes, she did progress. Over time, she passed professional exams and gained recognition within psychiatric training system. And at one point, she was even recommended for a specialist register, something normally reserved for experienced psychiatrists. This meant that she could potentially move into a consultant level role. Just let that sink in for 5 seconds. So, just to think about it, someone who never completed medical school had climbed to the edge of the highest levels of the profession. Throughout her career, colleagues reported concerns. Some staff questioned her clinical decisions, her behavior with patients. Complaints were filed, investigations happened, but the investigations focused on conduct, not qualifications. But Still, in all of this, no one had discovered the biggest lie of all. In a twist almost no one expected, Alemi wasn't caught because of medicine and because of her forged documents. She was caught because of greed. While working in Cumbria, Alemi became involved with an elderly patient. Investigators later discovered she had attempted to forge the patient's will, potentially allowing her to inherit an estate. In the end, this case went to court in 2018, and during that investigation, this is when journalists and authorities started digging deeper into her past. They contacted the university she claimed had given her a medical degree. The response came back quickly. There were no record of her graduating from medical school. Now, that discovery changed everything. Once investigators realized what they were looking at, the scale of the deception became clear. Alemi had begun practicing medicine in the UK for over 20 years, using forged documents, treating patients, earning more than £1 million from the NHS. Authorities began reviewing her entire career. The case became national news, but it revealed a terrifying possibility. Someone could fake being a doctor and get away with it for decades. And fast forward to 2023, Alemi faced trial for fraud and forgery connected to her fake medical career. Prosecutors argued that she had deliberately deceived the system from the very beginning. They laid out the evidence: the forged degree, the fake documents, the decades of employment based on lies. After a 4-week trial, the jury reached its verdict. Alemi was found guilty, and she was convicted of multiple fraud and forgery offenses tied to her medical career. The court sentenced Zholia Alemi to 7 years in prison. The judge described her actions as calculated and manipulative. Later, the court ordered her to repay hundreds of thousands of pounds to the NHS. Sources reported it's over 400,000. But the real damage wasn't just financial, it was about trust. Doctors hold one of the most trusted roles in society, and Alemi had managed to fake that role for more than 2 decades. So, for years, patients sat across from Zholia Alemi believing they were speaking to a trained psychiatrist. They trusted her, listened to her, followed her advice. But behind the white coat was a secret that began with a forged document in the 1990s, and somehow the system didn't catch it until one crime exposed everything and revealed one of the most unbelievable medical frauds in UK history. This has been True Medical Stories Archive. Thank you so much for watching. Please subscribe and share this video to help keep these conversations alive, because awareness can save lives. Until next time, stay informed, stay compassionate, and take care.